Considered to be the origin of almost all Western culture, Greece is home to many things like Hercules, democracy, the Olympics, and most importantly, the alarm clock.
Okay.
But all that aside, today we will be delving into the Greco-Persian War, an ancient conflict that took place around 490 BC between the Persians and the Greeks. The Persians had a very large army, composed even of people from lands that the Persians had captured. The Persians also had an elite fighting force called the Immortals that were feared throughout the world. But despite their dazzling reputation, the Persians had many weaknesses. Compared to many European armies, the Persians were very lightly armoured and relied less on hand-to-hand combat. They wore mostly tunics and cloaks. Shields were made of wicker. They were mostly armed with spears, arrows and bows. The Greeks were essentially a collection of city-states, the two most prominent ones in the Greco-Persian War being
the Athenians, and of course Spartans.
The Spartans had a very ruthless military system. Boys were taken from a young age and brutally trained to be soldiers. If a newborn was too deformed or puny, he was killed. They usually left the child in the forest, where something else might get to him.
Hello?
However, as a product of this rigor, Spartan soldiers became one of the most elite soldiers in the entire world. But while the Spartans were very skilled, there was always another Persian to take him on. Athens, on the other hand, was a more peace-loving society, focusing more on arts and philosophy. However, the Athenians required all boys to take at least 2 years of military school at the age of 18. If they performed well in school, they would usually become a hoplite or a soldier.
You have passed the test. You are now a hoplite.
That's good, man. I like being hoplite. It's pretty fun.
If they didn't do that well, then they would probably become a soldier's attendant.
I'm sorry, my son. You have failed your training. I declare you a soldier's assistant.
Dang it!
Attendants usually carried the hoplites' supplies for them, including their shield, their sword, and other equipment.
I think I need the other thing, the cup. Yeah, give me one go. Okay, alright. That was good. Alright, now just give me the carrot.
Why do you need a carrot?
Just give me that one.
As you can see here, the attendant and the soldier are working together to fight off the enemy.
Okay, we beat the enemy, so.
Well, like most wars, it's all very complicated. In a nutshell, the Persians wanted to take over the Greece for more land, and the king sent envoys to tell the Greeks to submit to Persian rule. The Greeks didn't just say no, they executed the envoys, something like this.
This is Sparta!
After that, Sparta and Athens, who usually hated each other, decided to make a truce to defend Greece as a whole. And in the end, despite Persian advancement, the Greeks were able to collectively push them back. And although Greece was eventually taken over by the Romans, the culture still survives today in almost everything you see.